All right, now here I'm going to take it a step further. Let's say AMC and Co. gave the green light, as Zach says, to start up the FTX AMC universe. Okay, let's say that happened. Then think about it in this way. Those 400 million shares were never there. Those 400 million shares were the actual AMC float. So those coins could be exchanged for AMC common shares that we were in the possession of. You gotta play with me for a second. Follow the bouncing ball. It is impossible for anybody to sell FTX 400 million shares. Impossible. It just wouldn't happen. Okay? That type of a size deal, it was just you just couldn't just sweep it under the door. It doesn't happen. Plus, the shares weren't there. So let's say AMC gave the green light to FTX to create those monsters, have them there, and the thing that gave them value was that they were redeemable for common stock, AMC shares. Then that means that our shares were basically the collateral to the FTX tokens. So it was basically using our shares as collateral against that, and then that's what gave the FTX coin the leverage to be used in order to be, to borrow a short attack us and dark pool and the whole thing. Why? Because those coins were backed by shares that were AMC shares, common stock, but they weren't in AMC's possession. They were in our possession because we bought them. What I'm wondering is, and I know that at the end of the day, the company always owns the shares. We lease the shares. It's almost like a car or a cell phone. We pay X amount of money, and at a certain time, when we sell it back, we either make a profit or don't. So that's how shares are basically, worked out. They always belong to the company. But if you follow the bouncing ball, if AMC and Co. gave FTX the green light on the 5th of June after our run up to start those FTX AMC, coins that were redeemable for AMC stocks, it was our shares that were backing it. So that's where the secondary book system, that's where, interesting, follow it another step. That means that when I jumped on board and said that's not the real price, it's a secondary book system, what happened was, it was almost like the street was, hey, I got a question. Were the shares that AMC had during that time before they dumped them, were they loaning them out? Because there was no shares other than us, retail, and AMC Corp. AMC Corp dumped those shares obviously on June 2nd, but were they lending those shares out? Because you see, in order to get shares, they got to come from somewhere. So if you get caught, you go, oh, it wasn't me. I got them from them. So before FTX and their FTX AMC token nefariousness backed by our shares, where were these shares coming from? Where were the shares coming from? There was only one entity that had that many shares, and they now follow the bouncing ball a little bit further. So let's say AMC Corp, Popcorn and Co. was lending out those shares in order for the other side to suppress the price. And then, poof, fucked up. We ran up, then they dropped shares. Then June 5th, based on Zach's investigation, Zachary's information, I want to say Zachary's information, they created the FTX, they created the second system, which then led on to obviously the creation of 8. So all I'm trying to tell you is this: do you now understand how messed up this whole thing was? We've been battling the company we saved. We've been battling them. And then they were dumping, the executives were dumping their shares as well. Were they lending their shares out? There's a lot of things behind the scenes that I was trying to warn everybody about. And they're like, yeah, these crazy secondary books, different price, synthetic Guatemalans, synthetic Brazilians. Do you motherfuckers even understand the kind of shit that I was pointing out 2 fucking years ago? But now all the pieces are starting to fall in place. Because if that FTX wallet was transferred over to the Binance blockchain and they're there and they're still there, are they still being used in order to drop us down? Now I got another one here for you. Were those FTX swapped for AMC shares ever issued APE? Did they create another batch of shares that were used to suppress pricing? How big is this? How big did this thing monster become? I'm going to the doctor's appointment. I gotta go get 2 shots my left side of my ear. Let me tell you something. The way today is going with all this information back and forth and thinking, I'm gonna tell the doctor, give me 2 in this one too. Love you motherfuckers, but please understand. I have never been involved with a fucking stock play where the company is not only dumping the shares to kill us, maybe lending them out and then creating digital tokens that are swappable for shares. They don't even own it, they're in the hands of the shareholders. And on top of that, create a preferred equity unit, APE, that was sent out, but then it was missing and nobody knew. And at the end of the day, people got it late. And then all of a sudden, when there's no more shares, they go, oh, we got to do a reverse split and add some more shares. And all of a sudden, now we wind up in court. Please understand. This is not normal. I think at this point, it is like bad for your health till I even continue in this. I'm doing it, whatever. It's fun. I'm already in this. But I can tell you something. There is no way, and I grew up in the streets, there is no way complex criminal enterprise, nefariousness, shadiness, fuckery, there's no way that ever works out at the end. Never, never. That never works out in the end. And I think that court case that popped up that gave us the delay, that gave the judge to, obviously put his take on the vote. Let me tell you something. You wanted to know AMC? You wanted me back? I'm back. I can't believe the kind of stuff that... Well, I had a couple of good months off, so... I'm back.